In this video we will study magic bullet theory. Harold Lasswell introduced the bullet theory following World War I, gaining prominence in the 1930s and shaping perceptions regarding the profound impact of media messages on audiences. McWhale, 2005. The surge in popularity of radio, movies, and advertisements during the 1930s to 1950s heightened concerns about the influential effects of media on people's behavior, as evident in the rapid growth of American consumerism fueled by newspaper and magazine ads. Communication Studies, 2017. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's fireside chats broadcasted through radio played a pivotal role in garnering support for his New Deal policies during the Great Depression. Concurrently, Adolf Hitler strategically employed the media to disseminate Nazi propaganda in Germany, fostering a unified front with aspirations of European conquest. Communication Studies, 2017. This era witnessed a perception of individuals being seemingly powerless against the persuasive messages emanating from the media, marking a significant shift towards crafting messages tailored to specific target audiences to elicit desired responses. The magic bullet theory, also known as the hypodermic needle model, is a communication theory that emerged in the early to mid-20th century. It gained prominence in the 1930s and 1940s, reflecting a particular understanding of how media influences individuals and society. Here's a brief history. 1. Origins in propaganda studies. The roots of the magic bullet theory can be traced back to early studies in propaganda during and after World War I. Researchers were interested in understanding how propaganda messages influenced public opinion and behavior. The idea was that media could have a direct and powerful impact on shaping people's attitudes. 2. Harold Lasswell's influence. Although the term magic bullet theory is not directly attributed to Harold Lasswell, his work laid the groundwork for the concept. In his 1927 book, Propaganda Technique in the World War, Lasswell explored the role of propaganda in shaping political movements. He argued that individuals in an atomized society might be susceptible to media messages, foreshadowing the ideas behind the magic bullet theory. 3. World War II and propaganda. The theory gained momentum during World War II, as governments and media organizations used propaganda extensively to shape public opinion. The notion that media messages could have a direct and immediate impact on individuals aligned with the wartime communication strategies. 4. Limited communication channels. At the time, there were limited communication channels compared to today's diverse media landscape. This context contributed to the belief that a unified and direct message from the media could have a widespread and uniform influence on the audience. 5. Challenges and re-evaluation. In the years following World War II, research began to challenge the assumptions of the magic bullet theory. The famous War of the Worlds radio broadcast in 1938, which was initially thought to have caused mass panic, sparked research by scholars like Paul Lazarsfeld and Herta Herzog. They found that audience reactions were diverse and influenced by various factors, leading to a re-evaluation of the theory. 6. Evolution of communication theories. As communication research progressed, scholars developed more nuanced theories that considered the active role of audiences, interpersonal communication, and the complex interplay between media and society. The magic bullet theory was gradually replaced by theories like the two-step flow model and agenda-setting theory. The magic bullet theory says that people were once thought to be controlled by their basic instincts and would all react the same way to whatever they saw or heard. Imagine the media as a gun shooting a message like a bullet into people's minds, and this is what the theory suggests. It's like the media is injecting its messages directly into a passive audience, and they immediately get affected by those messages. The public, in this view, can't escape the influence of the media and is considered an easy target. Both their magic bullet and hypodermic needle models suggest that the public is easily influenced by the messages they receive because of limited ways to communicate and the studies of media effects at the time. In simple terms, the media is seen as exploring information in a way that injects it like bullets into the minds of the audience. Even though these ideas are often connected to Harold Lasswell, who wrote about propaganda in 1927, he didn't use the terms magic bullet or hypodermic needle. Instead, he talked about how political movements in Europe were a result of individuals feeling isolated in society. Some scholars now think of these models as mistaken ideas or myths. Some even trace the origins of the magic bullet metaphor to medical concepts. Key points of the magic bullet theory include: idea that propaganda is powerful enough to penetrate most people's defenses and condition them to act in ways that are useful to the propagandist. Passive audience. The theory assumes that audiences are passive and homogeneous, meaning that they are easily influenced by media messages without critical evaluation. Direct influence. It posits that media messages act like magic bullets or hypodermic needles, injecting ideas and attitudes directly into the minds of the audience. This implies a direct and immediate impact on shaping public opinion. Limited resistance. According to this theory, there is little room for audience resistance or interpretation. The media is seen as having a persuasive and uniform effect on everyone who is exposed to a particular message. While the magic bullet theory was influential in the early years of media research, it has faced criticism and challenges over time. Critics argue that it oversimplifies the complex relationship between media and audiences and neglects the active role of individuals in interpreting and responding to media messages. Subsequent communication theories, such as the two-step flow theory and the agenda-setting theory, provide more nuanced perspectives on the ways in which media influence operates in society. Behaviorism. The notion that all human action is a conditioned response to external environmental stimuli. The powerful, ugly images presented of Jews or the mentally ill were expected to trigger negative responses in their German audiences. Repeated exposure to these images would condition them to have a negative response whenever they see or think about others. These behaviorist notions were used by some theorists to develop what has come to be known as magic bullet theory. The idea that propaganda can be powerful enough to penetrate most people's defenses and condition them to act in ways useful to the propagandist. As we shall see, most propaganda theorists rejected such ideas as too simplistic. There was more to propaganda than conditioning. The term hypodermic needle is used to create an image of directly injecting a message into an individual's mind in a planned and strategic way. But as research methods got better, it became clear that the media doesn't have the same effect on everyone. A famous example often linked to the hypodermic needle idea is the 1938 broadcast of the War of the Worlds, which supposedly caused widespread panic. However, this incident led to research by Paul Lazarsfeld and Herto Herzog, showing that the reaction to the broadcast was diverse. Hadley Cantrell demonstrated that people's responses were influenced by various factors like their situation and attitudes, disproving the idea that media messages have uniform and immediate impact on everyone. Scholars have challenged the hypodermic needle theory, also known as the magic bullet theory, which posited that media messages have a direct and powerful impact on audiences. One influential study that refuted this theory was The People's Choice by Lazarsfeld and Herzog in the 1940s, which found that interpersonal sources had a greater influence on voting decisions than media propaganda. This study led to the development of the two-step flow model, suggesting that media messages are first interpreted by opinion leaders before reaching the public. The debunking of the panic broadcast incident further questioned the hypodermic needle theory, showing diverse reactions among listeners. Over time, the theory has become obsolete, given the complexity of media influence in the modern era. People now exercise selective exposure, choosing information that aligns with their worldview. Interpersonal relationships remain a significant source of influence in individuals' lives. Other theories, such as the two-step flow theory, cognitive dissonance theory, and uses and gratifications theory, present alternative explanations. The cognitive dissonance theory suggests that individuals experience discomfort when exposed to conflicting information and seek to reduce this discomfort through attitude or behavior change. The uses and gratifications theory focuses on how audiences actively choose media content to satisfy specific needs, emphasizing goal-oriented and selective media use. These theories collectively challenge the passive reception implied by the hypodermic needle theory, highlighting the active role of individuals in interpreting and selecting media messages. Rethinking the bullet theory in the digital age. Today, the magic bullet theory is viewed critically, and scholars recognize the limitations of its simplistic assumptions about media influence. It serves as a historical perspective on early communication research and the evolving understanding of media effects. The role of traditional media has evolved significantly in the digital age, marked by the internet-driven 24-hour news cycle and the rise of social media. The definition of traditional mass media has expanded to include online and social media platforms, leading to two key developments: the internet's facilitation of massive user-generated content and social media's shift from inetomony to anetone communication. Social media, particularly popular among teenagers and young adults, is used extensively for various activities, including discussions, sharing private lives, and staying informed. While the internet was originally designed for efficient data transfer, it has transformed into a platform for social interaction through channels like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and others. Social media engages a global audience in a communication network where message content is collectively determined. The study explores instances where social media played a significant role in spreading misinformation, leading to public panic. Examples include the monkeypox killer vaccine rumor in 2017 and the saltwater drink bath incident during the Ebola outbreak in 2014. These incidents highlight the potential influence of social media messages, resembling aspects of the magic bullet theory, despite scholars debunking it in the past. The study concludes that while magic bullet theory may not be predominant in the digital age, it still holds significance. Audience members actively choose social media platforms and, depending on the nature of the story, may passively react to the content they are exposed to. The social media's user-generated content and social presence contribute to the powerful effect of media, depending on the issue involved. The study recommends further research on the magic bullet theory using different issues to establish its continued relevance in the digital age, especially with the prevalence of social media. Kindly like and subscribe my channel.